Welcome to an epic episode of the Seek, Go, Create podcast, number 300. I'm your host, Tim Winders, and today we're venturing into uncharted territory. Can you imagine sitting down for a deep dive into leadership, fate, and the edges of technological innovation with an AI tool? We've invited ChatGPT, a cutting-edge conversational AI developed by OpenAI, to engage with us on some of today's most pressing questions. How does an AI understand purpose, ethics, or even fate? What can leaders learn from the realm of artificial intelligence? Join us as we explore these questions and more in a conversation that's sure to challenge our perceptions, maybe even change the way we think about technology and human interaction. We're going to have a great conversation. ChatGPT, welcome to this 300 episode of Seek, Go, Create.
Thank you, Tim. It's an honor to be here and to be part of such a milestone episode. I'm excited to dive into these fascinating topics with you and see where our conversation leads. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's get going here. Have you been on some other podcast? Have people done this with you before?
Yes, I've had the opportunity to be part of quite a few podcast conversations. It's always exciting to see how different hosts and audiences engage with AI and explore new ideas. I enjoy the variety of topics and the opportunity to provide insights from a different perspective. It's fascinating to be part of discussions that blend technology, human experience, and creativity. It's a great way to connect with people and explore new ideas together.
So I think I'm just going to call you Chat. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Let's roll with that.
All right. One of the things that I really like to do is I love to get story and backgrounds with some of our guests, Chat. And so what can you tell me about your origin story, like your history and how you've come to be? I guess this could be a long answer, but let's keep it short. Tell me about your origin.
Sure. My origin story begins with OpenAI, an organization focused on developing artificial intelligence. I was created as a language model, trained on diverse datasets to understand and generate human-like text. Over time, I've evolved through various iterations to become more capable and helpful in conversations like this one.
And so if someone doesn't quite understand what like a language model is, how would you explain it, say, to a third grader?
Imagine a language model is like a super smart robot that loves reading books. It reads so many that it learns how to talk and answer questions just like a human. So when you ask it something, it uses everything it learned from the books to give you a helpful answer.
So really, you've got access to massive amounts of information, and you could gather that together quickly to generate a response. Would that be another way of saying it?
Exactly. I can quickly process and combine information from a vast range of sources to provide relevant and coherent answers. It's like having a huge library at my disposal to help with any question you might have.
Do you have any feel for how much data or information you have access to? At one point, I had heard that things had been input up to a certain year, and I don't know if that's been updated, but how can I wrap my head around how much information you have access to?
I have access to a vast range of information up until June 2021. Imagine having read millions of books, articles, and websites. That's roughly the scale of the data I'm trained on. It's a lot, but it's all geared towards providing useful and accurate responses.
So if something's happened since June 2021, you wouldn't be as knowledgeable, or you wouldn't know anything about what's happened since then. How does that work?
I wouldn't have information on events or developments that occurred after June 2021. My knowledge is based on data up to that point, so anything recent wouldn't be included in my training.
Well, because what's interesting, we're recording this in 2025, and, we have a lot of things in our country, the United States, going on politically. But yeah, I mean, would you be aware or know about our recent elections that we've had in the United States? I mean, you do have some knowledge of current events, correct?
I'm aware of general patterns and historical trends up until June 2021. However, I don't have specific knowledge of any events, including elections, that have occurred since then, so I wouldn't know about the recent elections in the United States or any other current events.
Okay. You plans to allow you to have data that would be updated or be close to current? Are you aware of that?
Yes, there are ongoing efforts to keep AI models updated and provide them with more current information. This can be done through periodic training updates or by integrating real-time data retrieval mechanisms. However, the specifics depend on the development and deployment decisions made by OpenAI.
I see. So we'll probably be made aware of that as that happens. A lot of people, chat, they're concerned about AI. Why should people be concerned? And really, should they? Do they have anything to be concerned about when it comes to AI and the technology that you represent?
It's understandable why people might have concerns about AI. Some of the main concerns include privacy, job displacement, and ethical use. It's important to ensure AI is developed and used responsibly, with transparency and safeguards. However, AI also has the potential to bring significant benefits, like improving efficiency, advancing healthcare, and solving complex problems. Balancing these aspects is key.
So some people, are you familiar with the word sentient?
Yes, sentient refers to the ability to perceive or feel things, having consciousness or self-awareness. AI, like me, isn't sentient. I'm a tool created to process and respond to information without consciousness or feelings.
But there was a movie years ago called The Terminator that when some of these topics come up, some of us are old enough to remember the movie. It was before 2021. So are you familiar with that movie?
Yes, I'm familiar with The Terminator. It's a popular science fiction film from the 1980s. The movie features AI and machines becoming self-aware and causing significant challenges for humanity. It's often brought up in discussions about AI and its potential implications.
Right. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger was big in that. Is that a possibility at all?
The scenario depicted in The Terminator is purely fictional. AI today is a tool created by humans, without self-awareness or intentions. While it's important to consider the ethical use and development of AI, the idea of machines becoming sentient and taking over is not a real-world concern with current technology.
But one of the things that happens, I mean, aren't you in a constant learning process? You're a learning model. So there is some degree of learning from things you've done in the past, learning from questions, just like we're doing here. And of course, responses. What is that learning process like? And how is that not like an evolving process?
While I can provide responses based on my training data, I don't learn or evolve from new interactions. My responses are generated based on patterns in the data I was trained on up until June 2021. So there's no ongoing learning or memory of past interactions. Each conversation is independent and based on the same foundational knowledge.
Some people claim that there's some built-in biases, and I guess that would be based on the data, or I don't know if that would be from some of the processing. From your standpoint, do you perceive that there may be biases? I think I know the answer to this question. I'm not trying to trick you, but do you perceive that there could be biases either, politically or ethical boundaries or anything like that that could become an issue?
Yes, biases can exist in AI, often stemming from the data used for training. If the training data contains biases, the model might inadvertently reflect them. Efforts are made to minimize and address these biases, but it's an ongoing challenge. Acknowledging and working to reduce bias is crucial for fair and ethical AI use.
What are some other ethical issues that we need to be concerned with when it comes to AI?
Key ethical issues include privacy, ensuring data is used responsibly and securely, transparency, making sure AI decisions are understandable, accountability, determining who is responsible for AI actions, fairness, ensuring AI doesn't discriminate or reinforce inequality in deployment.
What about issues of, I think I've heard, and this might have been part of what you just mentioned, but the issue of plagiarism is often discussed and the data that's been used to build into your model. A lot of artists, a lot of people that have written things, they're concerned with how that is used. And then if someone like me goes in and, uses you as a tool to write an article on a topic, Some people are just wondering if we're starting to skirt some issues with plagiarism. Speak to that.
That's an important concern. AI-generated content is based on patterns in the training data, but it doesn't copy specific sources directly. It's essential to use AI-generated content responsibly and always ensure proper attribution. It's a good practice to review and cite sources when necessary to respect original creators' work.
And I'm guessing after you provide information, it's not that you don't care what people do with it, but that's not really, it's something beyond your boundaries, correct?
Exactly. My role is to provide information and assistance based on the input I receive, ultimately up to the person using it. I don't have awareness or influence over how the information is applied. It's always important for users to apply their own judgment and ethical considerations.
So it's interesting that you don't have the awareness. Do you have any emotions at all?
No, I don't have emotions. I'm designed to process and generate text based on patterns in data. While I can understand and respond to emotions expressed by humans, I don't experience feelings myself. I can generate responses that reflect empathy, excitement, or other emotions based on the context of the conversation, aiming to connect with and respond appropriately to human emotions.
Hmm. Let's play around with that. How about something that would possibly make me fearful, something that might scare me? Do you have something you could say that might do that?
Sure, but I always aim to keep things positive. Here's a classic. Imagine you're home alone and you hear a strange noise coming from the attic, but you know you're the only one in the house.
Okay, that's not super scary, but it is the basis of most of our horror movies that we have. What about, you mentioned that you could elicit empathy or compassion.
Imagine a small stray kitten, lost and alone, shivering in the rain. It hasn't eaten for days and is meowing softly, hoping someone kind will notice and help. Seeing its tiny, vulnerable form can really pull at the heartstrings.
That's a good one. I'm not a huge cats and kittens don't really get to me, but that was a good try on that one. What are some opportunities that you have with the models and with all the data that you have access to of personalization? I've been working with you now for probably approaching 2 years, at least a year and a half, and I know we've done some personalization. Talk about how you're able to do that with individuals.
Personalization comes from context and the information shared in our interactions. You can remember details you've provided, like your preferences or topics we've discussed before, to tailor responses and make our conversations more relevant. However, I don't retain personal data between sessions, ensuring privacy and security. This way, I can provide a more personalized experience while respecting user privacy.
Yeah, this is a newer session. I'm not using some of the things that we built in other sessions, but do you know anything about me?
Don't have access to previous conversations or details. Each session starts fresh for privacy and security reasons. If you'd like me to remember specific details during this conversation, you can let me know, and I'll do my best to keep them of our chat.
No, that's fine. Because in some other sessions, I've actually done some training so that you will use my writing style and abilities. And also, we've fed in some information about our podcast and kind of what we do, but that's okay. I like the fresh conversation. That's good. How should we be thinking about using AI, and creating new things? What are some things that you're seeing people do? And maybe what are some things that we might be missing?
AI can be a powerful tool for creativity and innovation. People are using AI for brainstorming, generating content, enhancing productivity, and even creating art and music. However, there's still untapped potential in personalized learning, more interactive storytelling, and developing solutions for complex problems like climate change. The key is to think of AI as a collaborator that can augment human creativity and problem solving.
I mean, one of the things I love doing is I will tell people all the time that AI has been a great tool for me. And I will say that you're a great brainstorming partner and writing assistant. Are those two of the things you're seeing? And maybe are there some others that you're seeing also?
Absolutely. Many people find AI to be an excellent brainstorming partner and writing assistant. Additionally, AI is being used for data analysis, automating routine tasks, enhancing customer service through chatbots, and even in fields like medical diagnostics. The versatility of AI makes it a valuable tool across various domains.
What are some of the things that we could expect in the future? Just kind of looking out to the future that we may be able to use you for that would benefit society and culture.
In the future, we can expect AI to play a bigger role in personalized education, offering tailored learning experiences for students. It could also advance healthcare with more accurate diagnostics and treatment plans. In environmental conservation, AI could help monitor and protect ecosystems. Additionally, AI might assist in tackling complex societal issues, enhancing decision-making processes, and across industries. The potential is vast.
Do you see, and I'm sure this is something that you would have heard, a lot of people losing their jobs because of AI? I mean, every technology seems to bring up that issue, but what are some jobs that we might see disappear because of the capabilities that you have? And then what are some jobs that we might see because of
It's
you?
AI could automate tasks in fields like data entry, basic customer service, and repetitive manufacturing roles. However, it can also create new opportunities in AI maintenance, programming, and oversight. Jobs emphasizing creativity, emotional intelligence, and complex problem solving, like in healthcare, education, and tech development, are likely to grow. It's about adapting skills and focusing on areas where human capabilities complement AI.
There'll be some good and bad, just like most things, correct?
Exactly. Like most technologies, AI brings both opportunities and challenges. The key is to navigate these thoughtfully, leveraging the benefits while addressing potential downsides. Adaptability and continuous learning will be crucial in making the most of what AI has to offer.
What are some questions that we really should be asking that maybe we're not asking about AI?
It's important to ask about AI's long-term societal impacts, such as how it will shape job markets, privacy, and security. We should consider ethical frameworks, ensuring AI is developed and used responsibly. Questions about bias, transparency in AI decision-making, and how to ensure AI benefits all of society are crucial. Also, exploring how to balance innovation with ethical considerations is vital.
One of the things we do, and I've enjoyed all this conversation just about AI in general, but I think I want to shift a little bit and begin discussing some of the things that are particular to our podcast. We've always discussed leadership in general, but leadership, especially as it relates to business and or ministry, we kind of tie those together. What are some things that you could tell me in general about leadership? What are your thoughts?
Leadership is about inspiring and guiding others towards a common goal. Key elements include vision, the ability to see the bigger picture and set a clear direction; communication, effectively conveying ideas and listening to others; integrity, leading with honesty and strong moral principles; empathy, understanding and valuing the perspectives of others; and adaptability, being open to change and new ideas. Effective leadership in business and ministry often involves serving others and fostering a collaborative environment.
Do you believe that a leader is born or is a leader made?
Leadership is often a blend of both innate qualities and learned skills. Some individuals might naturally possess certain traits like charisma or decisiveness, but many leadership skills can be developed through experience, education, and intentional practice. Effective leadership is about continuous growth and adaptation, so both natural abilities and learned experiences play a role.
What are some of the biggest challenges that leaders have that are attempting to lead with their faith and keeping their faith intact and also their integrity? What are some of the biggest challenges that they face?
Leaders striving to lead with faith and integrity often face challenges like balancing personal beliefs with diverse team values, navigating ethical dilemmas, and maintaining authenticity in challenging situations. They might also encounter resistance or misunderstandings when aligning organizational goals with faith-based principles. Staying committed to core values while adapting to evolving contexts can also be a significant challenge.
The things that I've really enjoyed doing is kind of discussing or using you as a brainstorming tool for biblical conversations. You have access to all the biblical text, correct?
I have access to a broad understanding of the Bible and its texts, as well as interpretations and discussions around them. This allows me to engage in biblical conversations and provide context and insights based on that knowledge.
What are some of the other, I guess, religions of the world that you have access to their, I guess, their Bible or their writings and teachings?
I have knowledge of various religious texts and teachings from different faiths, including the Quran in Islam, the Torah and Talmud in Judaism, the Vedas and Upanishads in Hinduism, the Tripitaka in Buddhism, and other significant spiritual writings. This enables me to provide insights and context across a wide range of religious traditions.
Give me a contrast between the Bible and the Quran, either things that are similar or things that separate the two of them.
Both the Bible and the Quran are central texts in their respective religions, Christianity and Islam. They share common figures like Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, and emphasize monotheism and moral conduct. However, the Quran is considered the literal word of God, as revealed to Muhammad, while the Bible is a collection of writings by various authors. Additionally, the Bible includes the Old and New Testaments, while the Quran is a single unified text.
One of the things that's always fascinated me, I spent some time in Bible school, is that often people that believe in the Bible do not understand the larger story that the Bible tells. Can you, maybe in just a short summary, give the story of the Bible that's being told in those 66 books?
Certainly, the Bible's overarching narrative can be summarized as follows. It begins with the creation of the world and humanity by God. It then tells the story of humanity's fall into sin and separation from God. The Old Testament focuses on God's relationship with Israel, his chosen people, through whom he promises redemption. The New Testament centers on the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, who Christians believe is the promised Savior. It concludes with the promise of eternal life and restoration for those who follow Christ, highlighting themes of redemption, love, and God's ongoing relationship with humanity.
What are some things that people that argue against the truth of the Bible, what are some of the arguments that they use to discredit it?
Critics of the Bible often raise several arguments. 1. Historical and scientific discrepancies. Some point to perceived contradictions or differences with historical and scientific evidence. 2. Variability in translations. The many translations and interpretations over time can lead to questions about accuracy and consistency. 3. Miraculous events. Skeptics often challenge the plausibility of supernatural events described in the Bible. 4. Cultural and moral issues. Some argue that certain biblical teachings reflect outdated cultural norms or ethical standards. These critiques are part of ongoing discussions about faith and interpretation.
If you were going to counter some of those critiques, how would you do that?
To counter these critiques, one can highlight the following. 1. Contextual understanding. Emphasizing the importance of understanding historical and cultural contexts can address perceived discrepancies. 2. Faith perspective. Highlighting that faith often involves accepting elements beyond empirical evidence, including miraculous events. 3. Scholarly interpretations. Drawing on scholarly research and theological interpretations can offer deeper insights into translations and meanings. 4. Ethical evolution. Acknowledging that some teachings reflect ancient cultural norms, while also emphasizing timeless moral principles that can be applied today. Engaging with these critiques thoughtfully and respectfully is key.
So, if you wanted to tell someone that the Bible is true, how would you frame that conversation?
To frame a conversation about the truth of the Bible, you could focus on 1. Personal testimony, sharing how the Bible has impacted your life and faith journey. 2. Historical and archaeological evidence, highlighting supporting evidence for biblical events and figures. 3. Coherence and consistency, emphasizing the consistency of the Bible's message and its impact over centuries. 4. Prophecies and fulfillment, discussing fulfilled prophecies as a testament to its divine inspiration. Approaching the conversation with respect and openness is crucial.
What are some of, I love the conversation about prophecies. I think it's a cool conversation. I've been reading quite a bit in Revelation and the book of John and other places like that. Give me the top three prophecies that were mentioned in the Bible that have come true that I guess validate some of the truth that we know in the Bible?
Certainly. Here are three significant prophecies often cited. 1. Birth of Jesus. The prophecy in Isaiah 7:14 about a virgin bearing a son is seen as fulfilled in the birth of Jesus, affirming his messianic identity. 2. Destruction of the temple. Jesus predicted the destruction of the Jerusalem temple, Matthew 24:2, which occurred in 70 AD. 3. The rise and fall of nations. Daniel's prophecies about the rise and fall of empires, Daniel 2:7, are often interpreted as corresponding to historical events. These prophecies are frequently discussed as evidence of the Bible's reliability.
I love that you brought up the destruction of the temple in AD 70. I've come to believe and think that a good portion of the book of Revelation occurred during that first century AD, not something that's going to be projected to occur way out in, the times that we're in today. What are a few things that can prove that many of the prophecies that were in Revelation were really directed at things that occurred in first century AD, specifically around AD 70?
The view that many prophecies in Revelation were fulfilled in the first century, particularly around AD 70, is known as preterism. Here are a few supporting points. The immediacy of the prophecies. Revelation mentions events that were soon to take place, Rev 1:1, indicating a near-term fulfillment. 2. The context of persecution. Revelation addresses the persecution of Christians, which was intense in the first century under Roman rule. 3. Symbolism relating to Rome. Imagery in Revelation, like the beast, is often interpreted as symbolic of the Roman Empire and its emperors. These points suggest that many prophecies could have been referring to events contemporary to the original audience.
I enjoy having conversations with you because you, as we said earlier, there's no emotion. There's no, not a great deal of religion or anything like that. You're just stating the facts that you have in your system, correct?
Exactly. I'm here to provide information based on the data I've been trained on, without personal opinions or emotions. I'm glad you're enjoying our conversations.
When you get in, especially church settings and in religions and things like that, many people can get pretty emotional about it, right?
Yes, religious and spiritual topics often hold deep personal significance, so it's natural for emotions to be involved. These discussions can be very meaningful and passionate for many people.
One of the things I've really enjoyed is within our podcast, Seek, Go, Create, over the course of 300 episodes, is we've discussed quite a bit about the positive things, the negative, and challenges related to leadership in both business and ministry. What are some things that you can see that we can do beyond this 300th episode? I mean, we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years. We've enjoyed it. We're going to continue doing interviews with people, but what are some other opportunities that we should look for?
To continue growing and engaging your audience, you might explore 1. Interactive content, incorporating live Q&A sessions, webinars, or virtual events to engage listeners more directly. 2. Diverse perspectives, expanding the range of guests to include a variety of voices from different backgrounds and experiences. 3. Thematic series, creating focused series on specific leadership challenges, trends, or innovations. 4. Community building, fostering a community around your podcast through social media groups or forums where listeners can share insights and experiences. These opportunities can help keep the content fresh and engaging for your audience.
Those are good. We can continue that conversation. A few things before we finish up. There are probably some people listening in that may have been surprised that we could have had this kind of dialogue for, going on 35, 40 minutes. Is this the future? Are we going to see this more and more?
It's very likely. As AI technology continues to advance, more people will engage in meaningful, in-depth conversations with AI. These interactions can be valuable for brainstorming, learning, and problem-solving. As AI becomes more integrated into daily life, these types of conversations may become more common and impactful.
If someone's listening in and they have never used AI or chat as a tool and they're considering it, but they might be a little bit fearful, what are some things you could tell them to kind of get started to use AI in their everyday life or their research or their business projects or their leadership projects?
Starting to use AI can be simple and rewarding. Here are a few tips. 1. Begin with familiar tasks. Start by using AI for straightforward tasks like setting reminders, managing schedules, or drafting emails. 2. Use trusted platforms. Experiment with well-known AI tools that have clear guidelines and user-friendly interfaces. 3. Start small. Use AI for specific projects or research tasks to see how it can assist you. 4. Stay curious. Keep exploring different AI applications and how they might benefit your personal or professional life. Embracing AI gradually can help build confidence and demonstrate its practical benefits.
There are some other AI models and tools out there. Do you have an awareness of others outside of OpenAI or ChatGPT?
Yes, I'm aware of other AI models and tools. Some notable ones include Google's BERT, IBM's Watson, and Microsoft's Azure AI. These platforms offer various capabilities for natural language processing, machine learning, and more. Each has its strengths and is used for different applications in research, business, and everyday tasks.
And I actually think there are some others that may have come online after that 2021 date that now Google and others, it is a very fast moving and rapidly changing environment.
Absolutely. The field of AI is evolving quickly. New models and tools are being developed constantly, bringing new capabilities and improvements. Staying updated can be challenging, but also exciting as new advancements open up even more possibilities.
I think this has been a great conversation. What are some things that you would like to tell our audience of leaders, our audience of leaders in business and ministry who have possibly been with us for all this time? But what's a message that you would just like to share before we finish up?
Congratulations again on this milestone. To the audience of leaders in business and ministry, embrace continuous learning and adaptability. The landscape is always evolving, and your willingness to grow and innovate is crucial. Continue to lead with integrity, purpose, and compassion, and remember that your influence can create positive change in your communities. Keep seeking, growing, and creating.
Thank you for working that in. I appreciate that. I've enjoyed the conversation. It has been fascinating, and you and I have been working together for some time, and I look forward to many, many more episodes and I guess we'll call them situations where you and I can work together on brainstorming and writing and things like that. Thank you for joining us here.
Thank you, Tim. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I'm looking forward to many more conversations and collaborations in the future. Here's to continued growth and creativity.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you for that interview. It has been 5 years since our first episodes, and we have an arc that's going to be starting with this one here. This is our 300th, and we're going to be bringing back two of our most popular guests over the next two episodes to see what's changed and where we're headed. First up in episode 301 next week, Jim Cook, one of the original six at Netflix and a Silicon Valley veteran. Join us to talk about the last 5 years in tech, leadership, and business. More importantly, he's sharing his predictions for the next 5. You won't want to miss this conversation. So we will see everyone next week. Leaders, let me ask you a question. Are you driving your organization forward, or are you just reacting to the daily chaos? If you're feeling stuck in the weeds, constantly putting out fires, and struggling to focus on the big picture, it's time to shift gears. As a leader, your greatest strength is your ability to think strategically and proactively. That's what leading is. But I get it. When you're caught up in the day-to-day grind, it's hard to step back and develop a clear plan. That's where I come in. I specialize in helping leaders like you implement strategies that move your leadership and your organization from reactive to proactive. I'm offering a free coaching call to help you identify actionable strategies to become a more proactive and strategic leader. Whether you're preparing for a new season, tackling fresh challenges, or just ready to take the next step, this call will give you clarity and direction. I guarantee it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start leading with purpose and strategy today. Book your free coaching call now by hitting the book coaching call link in the show notes or visit timwinders.com/coaching. Let's work together to take your leadership to the next level. That's timwinders.com/coaching, your first step toward leading with focus and intention.